Peace, everyone. Well Kilindi here. First go live of the new year 2020. Hope everyone is doing well and progressing and moving forward. Here, right to my right, is the Palantir stone that we've been talking about for the last 3 years with the transdimensional stones. All of the stones, the transdimensional crystals for the first phase of our project are now in the hands of those practitioners who are practicing with high dose. And, things are moving forward. The second landing of the transdimensional crystals will happen in March. So we don't have any more transdimensional crystals as of now. The only ones I have left are those that I am saving for my grandchildren once they become of age. So greetings to everyone. For those who don't know about the Palantir stone, which is talked about in J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, we named it after that. There's not actually a Palantir stone. It is a 140-pound crystal ball, and it is infused with the algorithms of the Atlantean crystals that were utilized prior to the Younger Dryas impact explosions. The Atlantean technology is the precursor to the Kemetic technology. Crystals can receive energy and they can release energy, meaning that they are the precursors to the computer systems which we have today. They can download information. You can download information into them, and you can upload information into them, or whichever way it goes. You download into it, you upload into it, you download from it, and upload into it. There we go. So a way of knowing, it came down from Atlantis into Egypt or into Kemet, and from Kemet, it infused into other parts of the world. It went into Europe with the gypsies, the Egyptians who were later Egyptians who moved out into Europe, and they took the crystal ball with them. That's where you see the old gypsy woman, like in, the Wolfman with Lon Chaney, and you see the old gypsy woman, and she has a crystal ball, and she looks into the crystal ball and looks into your future, and she says, "Oh, I can't tell you what it is," and that whole thing. But this stone, this crystal ball, this Palantir stone, is a repository of transdimensional, extradimensional, ultradimensional knowledge and information. It contains the access to the grand libraries in other dimensions. Those libraries, the information in those libraries have been downloaded into the crystal. And you can see the crystal is not a perfect crystal in the sense that it looks like a glass globe, a glass ball, but there are fracture points in it. And those fracture points are each places of where the information is stored on another level. So each, what you would call imperfection, is another universe, another world of information. There's more information in this crystal than there are atoms in this universe by many, many quadrillions, quintillion orders of magnitude. And we will be accessing this technology as a source of knowing, a source of information, and a way to go into this crystal. So those who have the smaller handheld transdimensional crystals will be able to use that crystal along with the entheogens in tandem to go into this crystal, access the information in this crystal, bring it back to the transdimensional crystals, and utilize it in your consciousness. Now, of course, the entheogens, the mushrooms, are a technology within itself also. When we look at technology, we don't limit it to what can be accessed through electricity. We look at the ancient relic technologies, such as the crystal ball, such as the magic carpet, such as Medu Neter or the hieroglyphs. These are all technologies. There are people who say that, oh, this is just nonsense, there's no such thing, and the like. But if we really understand, we know that these technologies work. But the thing is that they're paired with the entheogens. The entheogens are the access point. I was looking on Facebook yesterday, and they were talking about the gods, and there's no such thing as the gods and all these kind of things. I don't see them as gods either. But these beings of a higher informational order that were looked at in ancient times as gods and pushed through to today through different religious systems, spiritual systems, and things like that, were accessed, were seen through the hallucinogens, through the psychedelics, through the entheogens. That's where they saw the man with the bird's head and the human body. That's where they saw the dragons. That's where they saw all of these different creatures whom are part of legend going back to the beginning times of this era. And when I say this era, I'm talking about since humans have been on Earth this time, because humans have been on Earth several times and have come back. Just like, they'll say, oh, well, the Tasmanian tiger was hunted to extinction. There are no more of them, and we'll never see them again. And then 30, 40 years later, they'll say, oh, well, Tasmanian tigers have been seen again on Tasmania, or some type of exotic creature that's gone that comes back. Now, you could say, well, it was two of them hiding in the bushes and they had some babies. But the thing is that human beings have been blown off this earth before through supervolcanoes, through asteroidal impact, through floods. And yes, I'm talking about floods in the biblical sense, not the biblical flood, because they just copied information that was recorded about the flood, and they put it in the Bible and put their own man's name to it and things like that. They, from Mesopotamia, from India, from Africa, from North America, from Australia, from all the places around the world in the time when the Antarctic was green. When the Antarctic was green, New York, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Philly, all of that was under 2 miles of ice. It was called the Laurentide ice sheet. Just like now, the Antarctic is under a 2-mile ice sheet. It was the exact opposite many thousands and thousands of years ago. But prior to that, this technology ruled. No supercomputer on Earth, no quantum computer, and only a few folks got them, Google and the DARPA and the State Department and things like that, are as powerful as this crystal right here. The thing is that we're talking about a sophistry of courage, being able to go into some places that are only talked about in legend, only talked about with a glint in your eye about magic. I said a little while ago, we need more Dr. Stranges, but this is the Dr. Strange stuff. This is being in exotic lands, faraway places, levels of darkness, darker than the darkest darkness. So it's only for those who have the courage to take the dose. I know we talk about microdosing, and from time to time I microdose too for my neurological upliftment and building, because we have to keep those things in our system so that we can at least stay current neurologically, because the artificial intelligence, what we call the artificial intelligence, what we call the AI, is moving exponentially. It's running everything. You can't go past a doggone restaurant or gas station without them shooting you some ads saying you need to come in here. But that's not all it's doing. That's just the mundane phase of what the artificial intelligence is doing. So these type of things that I'm talking about, as I said before, they're for the explorers, they're for the psychonauts, they're for the people of courage. This isn't for the 3.5 gram people. This isn't for the 5 gram heroic dose people. This is for the people who want to go further, who want more, who want to understand a way of knowing. And that's why I call it a way of knowing. A way of knowing, not of believing, not of speculation, because people will tell you, oh, that's nonsense. None of that is real. You're living in a fantasy. As I said before, I was on Facebook and they were talking about the gods, that these beings didn't exist. They do exist, just in a different dimension. That's why human beings were walking around naked as the day they were born, without shoes or clothes, before they domesticated fire, while they were stealing meat and eating vegetables off eating fruits off the trees and roots and tubers and vegetables off the ground, wandering with no precursors of any type of spiritual anything. They ate the mushroom on the newly formed grasslands, and it gave them an older system of knowledge, an older informational structure. And inside of those excursions, inside of those trips, they found these exotic creatures whom they drew. They found these exotic creatures, entities, beings. And many later on worshiped who the earlier peoples had a relationship with. That's why I said that in the early days, God walked with man, because he walked with man and woman in their trips. They knew them. They had a relationship with them. And all the room temperature, super quantum wave, magical system of computers through the crystal does is give you a way back, a map, so that we don't have to go through hundreds of thousands of years pressing back, trying to get back to the same places, because the multiverse is a big place. Not the universe, the multiverse, multiple universes. And you can you could wander forever. What it does is download the places that you want to get back to. And you use it to access those places, so that if there's something interesting that you're working on, or a relationship that you're having with something or someone, you can get back to that spot. It's the GPS. So yes, It sounds crazy to those who've never been in. And there's nobody as stable as me. I'm not a kook or nut who's just eating mushrooms and running around talking a bunch of stuff. These things are what I have experienced, and many others who have taken the time to do their research and who have taken their own self, their own personal mind and consciousness, boasted their courage and had enough of an interest to know and took it upon themselves to go in, not read no book, not listening to nobody else, not saying that, oh, so-and-so said it, so it must be true, because this is not a guru movement. This is not the sacred supermaster, that we all come and sit before and listen to them pontificate. The true teacher makes himself or herself obsolete. You don't keep coming back forever, At some point you go off on your own and you come back and you share the things that you've experienced and you've learned with your teacher and the other people. Because this is something you have to do yourself. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody can go in for you. Nobody can come out for you. It's like everything that's important in this construct. You're born by yourself. You die by yourself. This you have to do by yourself. The mushroom is the teacher. It is a teacher that does not discriminate. The information is there. What you need to do is be diligent enough to access it, courageous enough to get in and stand the truth as it is told to you. See, the mushroom ain't got to lie. The mushroom don't need no money. It doesn't need to be for praise to be placed upon it. It has an agenda, of course, and its agenda is to be with you as a partner to be able to traverse, because you can move around or you can send it places that it wouldn't be able to necessarily go itself. So, hey, what it wants to do is hitch a ride on the craft, because that's what you're building. You're building the transdimensional multiverse craft. So we have some things coming up this year. We will be having people go on the excursions with the plantaire stone here, with the plantaire crystal, because we need professionals. We need people who are going to do the real magic. We need the folks that are going to be changing reality, hacking the matrix, because it's all a simulation, embedded in simulation, embedded in simulations. And if it's code, of which Professor James Gates says that, hey, the codes that are used in the fabric of reality are the same codes used in Google and Facebook. And of course, it would be that way. The same way that your currency, your money into the multiverse is Bitcoin on the blockchain, because your DNA is a blockchain. Your RNA is a blockchain. So these ways of doing things previously internalized are the way that they're expressed in the macro universe. The way it works on the micro scale, on the quantum scale, is the way it works here. That's why the way reality is structured in the simulation is the same way you pass information on the internet, because it's based upon the mycelial network, the mushroom network that permeates this earth, that permeates gajillions of different planets in different places. It's the same structure. I don't believe in no creation, nor creator, but I do know, as a way of knowing, that there are organizers. You organize that which is already here, because that which is already here always has been here and will always be here. So you can take a tree and make a desk out of it. You didn't create the desk. You created the structure, or you arranged the structure of the desk out of the wood, which was already here. And that's the same thing with people. It's the same thing with desks. It's the same thing with everything. So I'm here to say we have several things coming up. We have the Toad ceremony coming up in May. We have the Food of the Gods retreat in end of June, 1st of July, because we have to get the date a little closer to the date it's going to be happening, because we have to work with the mushrooms and how the thunder and lightning comes, because these are the thunder and lightning mushrooms, the Sapatocorum mushrooms up in the mountains outside of Oaxaca in Mexico. Food of the Gods retreat, where the actual food of the gods, with the Olmec, Toltec, Aztec, Mayan ancestors and deities are contained in those mountains and mushrooms, where the thunder and lightning comes, and where the lightning strikes, the mushrooms pop up, and the young boys go in the hills and to pick the mushrooms and bring them down out of the mountains. And then we have what's going on this year. We're having the Detroit Psychedelic Conference, August 7th, 8th, and 9th. Write it down now. The Detroit Psychedelic Conference, August 7th, 8th, and 9th. Don't get caught without your ticket, because they're gonna go fast, because this is gonna be off the chain. We come in with the hyperdimensional, transdimensional, ultra-dimensional information. The Palantir stone will be there. The crystal ball will be there. The technology will be there. And we're going with actual speakers who are actually taking the doses, not the usual suspects, not the people who have the capital and the wherewithal and are brung all over the world to the wine and cheese parties to pontificate on their newest book, and they've never taken anything at all, or their new psychedelic science project, and they've never taken anything at all. And I'm not downplaying anybody who takes low doses, because anybody who takes mushrooms, ayahuasca, salvia, iboga, any of those things, I take my hat off to them, because it takes courage to do that. We just have a certain niche that we're dealing with, and people are calling high doses. I don't know what a high dose is, because with mushrooms, you can take as much as you need. So I don't know what a high dose is. But all I know is I'm gonna keep going higher. Some people say that, hey, anything over a certain amount, nothing you can do it. No, that's not how it works. And if you haven't taken that, you can't speak on it. Well, you can speak on it, but they don't mean nothing. It's just like the people who say, oh, DMT is the top of the line. It's the highest thing there is. You take DMT and there's nothing like it. No, mushrooms are DMT, and mushrooms don't have no bottom to it. DMT, you can take as much DMT as you want. You're going to be stuck in DMT land. When you break through, you're going to be there. Mushrooms just keep going higher and higher and deeper and more inclusive in the excursion. I haven't found where it stopped. I don't know. So I'm going to keep down the hole deeper and deeper and deeper until I go down the hole deeper and deeper and deeper, because this thing is so profound. It ain't church. It ain't dancing and getting possessed. It ain't doing your yoga. It ain't breathing. It ain't none of that. This is the real thing. I try to explain to people. I try to explain to friends, colleagues, you know, my martial arts buddies. They don't have the wherewithal to try one Saturday night on something that's impossible to kill them. I talk to people all the time, and they, well, I'm afraid of what I may do or what I may be thinking. Well, shoot, how are you afraid of yourself? Either shit or get off the pot. Let's stop faking the funk. Now, all these people that'll tell you this and tell you that about what spirit is and the connection to the gods and all that kind of stuff, all of that don't mean nothing. Why doesn't it mean anything? Because it ain't got access. You want to see your gods? You want to shake hands with them? You want to talk to them? We got a way you can do it. And I can show you in one night, 6 hours, 8 hours. And all those people who are detractors and think that it ain't real, well, let me show you. We need to do this. This is a way out of the nonsense. We can evolve our way out. Transhumanism is sitting right before us. And that's just a bridge into the mystery. Humanity is just a bridge. It's a passage. It ain't to be stuck being a human being forever. It's a way through. That's all. Stop talking about let's get back to this and get back to that. And nature's no. We are to expand ourselves beyond nature. We are to expand ourselves beyond the physics of which we are trapped in a human body in the three-dimensional 5-sense reality. You have different ways of doing things, different ways of being able to access the consciousness, being able to access the mystery. You spend time in the human mind, the human framework. You spend time going to work, eating food, drinking water, making love. But then there's time that you can get out of this whole thing and show yourself as who you are on a higher level. So no, don't think that this is something small. Don't think that this is not real. Don't think that it's just your imagination, because it's not. It's as real as anything that you can experience in the human body. It's as real as popcorn. It's as real as your car. So, as I said, this is the first go live of the year. We're gonna give it to you. It's for you to come and accept it. Don't miss the Detroit Psychedelic Conference. August 7th, 8th, and 9th. Don't miss it. We're going to have people here from all over the world, from the UK, from Europe, from Australia, from all over. And of course, from Africa. We're going to have people from all over. But these are the ones that are doing it. It's a small community of people that are doing the real thing. It's not big, you know. It's not like this spiritual system or the Baptist or something like that. Because this one, you have to put your behind in here. You can't just sit back and sing and say, I got a relationship, and all of those little cliches that people say, you know, at the Emmys or the Grammys or something like that, you know, the Lord did it all for me. That's nonsense. And they know it's nonsense when they're saying it, but it just sounds good to say because that's what people want to hear. That nonsense. So, hey, I'm coming at you hard. I'm going to come at you hard this year. And the reason being, I ain't getting no younger. So what I have to give, I'm going to give when I can get it. You'll still be able to access me wherever I am because this will always be here. This will be here because the information is on a blockchain. If the media hit this house and broke this thing up and smashed me, all you need is another crystal with any of those small transdimensional crystals, and we can reload on a new crystal. Now, the crystal that you go to the crystal store, or the crystal that you go to the crystal conference and buy, or the one you had, your sacred crystal in your house, and it can be all those things to you, but it doesn't have the information that this has. That's why when we send out the transdimensional crystals, it's just a regular quartz crystal. It ain't no super spiritual, nothing. This is not a super spiritual anything. It has the information in it. It's like if you go to the computer store and you buy two identical 2 terabyte hard drive, external hard drives. You got one hard drive that is just formatted, don't have nothing on it. Then you have another hard drive that's been hooked to the computer. You can download your movies into it. You got your books. It accesses all your Netflix and your other things that you have because you have it hooked to the computer. You download all the information in it. All you need is the access point to get it out, which is the computer. That's the same thing. The access point is the entheogens. The crystal is a terabyte hard drive. But people trying to say to me that, hey, I got a crystal too. I can do the same thing you can do. You can't, I don't know what information you got in your crystal, but we're talking about specific information hooked to specific dimensional realities that is downloaded into that terabyte hard drive. So you can show me your crystal. You can show me your terabyte hard drive, but it's formatted. There's nothing in it. It's non-structured. It don't have the information in it from the hyperdimensional realms. So it looked the same, but it ain't got no information in it. May come out of the same crystal bed, out of the same crystal spot. Just like the 2 terabyte hard drives came out of the same computer store. Saying, why is your crystal so special? Hey, it's just like the 2 terabyte hard drive. It's just a 2 terabyte hard drive. It costs $79.95. But the information in it, it's got all your codes. It's got all the pictures of you when you was a kid. It's got pictures of your dead mama in there. It's special. It's valuable because of the information that was downloaded into it. And that's what we're saying about this. Yes, it's a crystal like all the other crystals. And we know that you get your crystals and you put them on your altar or your shrine and it looks nice. But you don't understand that your altar, that your shrine is supposed to be paired with the entheogens, supposed to be paired with the psychedelics. It's a place. It ain't to come and kneel before and worship. It's a place that you come under the influence of those psychedelics and you go to your shrine and those statues and sacred objects are all activated. You go into the statue, you go into the shrine, you go into the crystal, because they're all different places. They're where the ancestors live. When they say you're part of a house, that's what it means. You go to the house. You go to the ancestors' house. You see them. You're with them. Your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your mother or father's days passed on, your best friend. It's accessible, real time, mouth to ear, eye to eye. And all you got to do is invest a night or two to be able to get there. And it's the farthest place that you could ever imagine. But it's so close, it's closer than your skin, it's closer than your breath. Your shrine, your spiritual system is a place. The reason why things in your house don't work right, not that everybody, I'm saying on a different level, is because the power of the houses was usurped by modernity. So you're supposed to have people die in your house. That opens the portals to the realm of death. You're supposed to have people born in your house. That way it opens the portals of life. So at the front door, you have the portal of life. And at the back door, you have the portal of death. That creates a stream of energy and power from the beginning to the end to the next beginning and end. And then your special place. Because every place is sacred. It's all made out of the same stuff. What's the difference between this piece of dirt and that piece of dirt, other than what you call it and what you say it is? It's special and sacred because you say it is, not because it's different than anything else. So yes, your shrine, your special place, your ancestral communication spot is a place. It's to be accessed. It's to be gone into. Them statues are supposed to be invoking the power out of them. They're supposed to be stepping into your environment. You take a bigger dose, you're stepping into their environment. You're going to the land of the ancestors. The ancestors are on that same blockchain. They're the same informational structure. They say the ancestors live in your DNA. Yes. You uncoil it, you access it, because the entheogen, the psychedelic, the hallucinogen is intercalating into your DNA. It's hooked to the DNA. And when you put the psilocybin, the psilocin, the DMT into that system where it's hooked onto the DNA, it opened that stuff up. Because all of the outside technology is an inside technology also. So, hey, a lot of things are going to be happening. I'm going to be in Oakland the 8th, end of the month. I'm going to be in Atlanta. You know, I don't get invited to too much Black History Month stuff. Used to, back in the early 90s and things like that, they'd invite me around to talk about we built the pyramids and those type of things, but they stopped asking me to come because I stopped talking about building the pyramids because I got the technology to show you how to build the pyramids. But you got to take the dose. And if you don't take the dose, you think I'm just talking stuff. So this is for the folks who are taking the dose, or the folks who are in preparation to take the dose because it's something that you have to do. It's a commitment you have to put forward. It ain't just sitting back, listening, and being a part of because you say you know this and that. Ancient Kemet, Atlantis, Mesopotamia, Akkadian, Babylon, the Congo, all was built on the hallucinogens. That's where they got the information from. That's how the ancestors transmitted it through time. So, hey, peace to all the folks. We're going in this year harder than ever before because we're at that point now. We either got to get it going, because if we don't, I don't know what the alternative is, but it ain't gonna be good. So I'm signing off. We'll be doing these frequently so that you all can get more and more information. And I'll see you soon. Peace.